We got a lot of news to talk about. Breaking Switch 2 news. Let's go.
Oh, we have on camera Reggie Fils-Aimé!
Obi-Wan plays.
Yes, right. What's up? All right.
Obi-Wan plays.
What is going on, everybody? How are y'all doing? Rubbing my hands like Birdman. Oh my goodness. We have some news to talk about today. Breaking Switch 2 news. We got a couple of news items we're going to talk about. But before we get started, I need everyone to give the stream a big thumbs up. What do they need to do, Brio?
Make sure to like and subscribe.
All right, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me say what's up to everybody coming to the chat, and we're going to get to the news. ASAP, Jamal, Techie, Romaine, Tony, Ant, Kibo, Mahomes, AC, and DT rounds out the top 10-ish in the chat. Make sure your notifications are on so you know when I go live. Make sure you're following me on Twitter because it be going down. I can just tweet out the breaking news on Twitter, but we still, of course, we got to go live to go in depth, talk about everything. Oh, so much news. First, let's start it light before we get heavy. Before we get too heavy, let's start light with the camera. All right, it's been confirmed by Nintendo, the official Nintendo camera. This is the light news. We got some bigger breaking news right after this one. And we got a couple stuff to talk about. We got a good stream. We're just gonna be chilling. We got some stuff to talk about. Also, we will be giving away a Switch 2 console. This is gonna be big. The Switch 2 console a week before the console launches. It's still June 5th. The launch date is still June 5th. A week before the console launches. We're gonna be giving away a Switch 2 console with Mario Kart World and a 512 gigabyte micro SD Express card. Shout out to Merle, one of my sponsors. Shout out to ASAP, who won the first console giveaway, but we're giving away two. I told y'all we're giving away two consoles. We doing it big. We're at 27 likes. 13 people give the stream a thumbs up. Let's get it. All right, light news. This is the whole game chat, fun stuff. Nintendo, I can't wait. I want to see what Pikmin 4, if they do a Switch 2 edition of that game, and Splatoon. I really want to see a Splatoon Switch 2 edition or Splatoon 3. But with the game chat, and specifically the camera that comes with the Switch 2, Nintendo has confirmed the camera will be 1080p. There is another off-brand camera, Hori, which like a Piranha Plant camera, that's only going to be 480p. So if I were you right now, I'm going with the official Nintendo brand. So it is what it is. But that was light. That was just to whet our appetite, bro. Canada has now delayed their Switch 2 pre-orders. Not Canada, but Nintendo has delayed the Switch 2 pre-orders now in Canada. Not looking good right now. This whole pre-order situation has been a nightmare. A nightmare for Nintendo. Now, as I tweeted out on Twitter, nothing can stop my hype. Still hype for the system. Nothing's gonna stop it. It's hype. I'm hype. I'm hype for the system. Mario Kart World looks epic. Can't wait to play that. Metroid Prime 4K 60 frames per second, gonna be epic. Donkey Kong Bonanza, gonna be epic. Street Fighter 6, that's gonna be my third party game at launch. Can't wait to play that. The Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, that game looks hype. I'm hyped for the game chat feature. I am a little bummed that we don't have achievements, but nothing can stop the hype. We are still hyped for everything Switch 2. It's going to be a dope generation. Do I think the price is going to affect the sales? In some regard, it may. Do I think the system is still going to sell out and still be wildly successful? Yes, the system is still going to be successful. Nintendo just has to, and it's out of Nintendo's control. It's really the whole tariff situation. Because of the tariffs, Nintendo couldn't have launched this console at a worse time when everything is going crazy. The stock market crashing, tariffs are being implemented. It's just a crazy time right now. All right. This is coming from mobilesyrup.com. Never heard of this website. This is a Canadian website. It has a Canadian maple leaf. Nintendo has confirmed that pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 have been delayed in Canada past the originally scheduled April 9th start date. It was supposed to start tomorrow. This was supposed to be the day we're lining up in line at GameStop doing our all-nighters waiting. But it's not happening. This is a direct quote. Pre-orders for Nintendo Switch 2 in Canada will not start on April 9th, 2025. And here's the reason. In order to align with the timing of pre-orders to be determined in the US. And so the shipment of Canada and the US, they are interconnected. They're dependent on each other. So that's what's happening. Nintendo of Canada said in a statement to Mobile Syrup, Nintendo will provide updated information at a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. June 5th, 2025 is still happening. All right. Last week, Nintendo delayed Switch 2 pre-orders in the US in order to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions. When I hear that statement, I'm hearing a price adjustment is about to happen. Whether the price will go up, it's more likely it's going to go up. It could stay the same. Small chance it'll go down. Who knows? Maybe Nintendo's listening to the outcry of fans and they're going to decrease the price. When does that happen? But it makes it seem like there might be a price increase. And Nintendo just has to, if they increase the price, people are going to be upset. But where Nintendo can shield the blame off of them, they have to just come out and be clear and just say, due to the tariffs imposed by the US, we have been forced to adjust the price of the Switch 2 system. You know what everybody's going to be? They're going to be upset. There will be rage, but the rage won't be directed at Nintendo. It'll be directed at President Trump. That's where the rage will be directed at. It'll be directed because it'll be a direct consequence of the tariffs. But it's on Nintendo to just be honest and say, this is the situation. This is what we're dealing with. And it is what it is. So if they're just honest with it, the rage will be redirected from Nintendo to someone else. That's what Nintendo has to do. They have to pass the buck to somebody else. All right. However, the company confirmed that pre-orders were still set to open in Canada on April 9th. Now we know that's changed. Nintendo held its big Switch 2 Direct and global media preview on April 2nd. By the way, that April 2nd presentation was straight hype. The best video game presentation I've sat through. I was just hyped from beginning to end. I couldn't wait to see what was next. Everything they showed was hype. Even the game chat portion, I thought that was cool. I thought that was hype with the camera, and we're gonna be you could FaceTime with your friends while we're playing. I thought everything was dope, bro. From beginning to end, love this presentation. Shout out to everybody coming to the stream. We're at 37 likes. I need 13 people. Give the stream a thumbs up. Let's crush 50 likes live on stream. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. June release date. Unveiled the console and the software lineup. June 5th release date and $629 price. That's how much the Switch 2 was costing y'all in Canada. The Canadian Switch 2 launch price right now is $629. That's crazy, bro. But is that what we're about to face in the US with these tariffs? If these tariffs go into effect, I mean, they've already gone into effect. If Nintendo is really adjusting the price for the tariffs, we could see a console creeping up to a $600 price point, which would be pretty bad for Nintendo. I'm still buying it, but not everybody's going to be like me and you, Bucks. That's going to be tough, bro. That's going to be tough. All right. However, U.S. President Donald Trump announced tariffs just hours later on a variety of countries, including China and Vietnam, where Nintendo manufactures hardware. As a result, many were wondering how Nintendo would respond. It remains to be seen when pre-orders will eventually open for the US and Canada. I was about to say Canada. We're also still waiting for official confirmation for Switch 2 games and accessories pricing. That's the thing. I'm wondering if the games pricings are going to adjust too. What Nintendo they could have done a variety of things. They could keep the console low and just adjust the game pricing, because they make most of their profits on the games. Nintendo's notorious for not making a loss on their hardware sales, though. Microsoft and Sony, they would bite the bullet and sell their consoles cheaper and suffer that loss and recoup in hardware now. Nintendo makes a profit on both hardware and software. Nintendo might keep the hardware price. We're going to keep the hardware price at $450, $500 for the bundle, and just say now the standard price $80. Everything is $80. Breath of the Wild $80. Kirby $80. Mario Kart World $90. And just adjust everything with the software price. And they just have to be clear and say, due to the tariffs, we are trying our best to keep the console low, but we have to adjust the price of the software due to our development costs. And let the consumers know, as the pricing of tariffs adjusts, we do anticipate lowering software prices for our consumers. They just have to, somebody has to come out and just be honest with us, bro, and just talk in front of a camera directly and let us know. Yo, what's up, Paid? That's one of the things, like, I miss Iwata. If Iwata was still the president of Nintendo, he would have gotten in front of a camera and just told us what's going on. He would have said, please understand. Like he used to always notoriously say, please understand, and bow his head. But he was a humble CEO, and he talked directly to the fans. He'd say, please understand, due to the market conditions, we are forced to adjust. And he would just let us know. He would just, like, he wouldn't beat around the bush. He'll just be straight up with us and just let us know this is why we're doing what we're doing. Right now, Nintendo's messaging hasn't been the best, bro. It hasn't been the best with the Mario Kart. They should have, like, even with the price of Mario Kart, they should have told us, like, we're confident that once you see our direct, you'll see the full value, and just be straight up. They did that in interviews afterwards, but things have changed with their messaging. So, we're also still waiting for official confirmation of Switch 2 games and accessories pricing. So far, the company has confirmed it will adopt variable pricing on the new console, with some games like Mario Kart World costing US $80, Canadian $113? $113 in Canada? That's crazy. While others like Donkey Kong Bonanza will cost $70, about $100 Canadian. We reached out to Nintendo of Canada for official Canadian pricing, and we'll report back once we learn more. Bruh, we could start getting these Canadian pricing, bro. Canada is paying $100 for these games. It could get to that point, bro. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But as soon as things change, pricing, everything, anything, I'm gonna let you know. Talking to my kids. So it's crazy right now, bro, with the pricing. And here's the thing. People are trying to circumvent the tariffs. Check this out. One user on Twitter is saying that they pre-ordered a Switch 2 through UK to be shipped to the US, and the UK Amazon store canceled their pre-order. It says, update from a canceled Switch 2 UK pre-order. Amazon UK customer service is saying they will not ship to US and will cancel any order from the US. But this is how things are just changing by the minute. Someone else tweeted out, Amazon UK seems to be changing its mind by the minute about shipping Switch 2s to the US. And they're saying, you can't be on stream, so get a shirt or something. I no longer see the notice that it won't ship to me. And I was able to get the place order screen through Amazon UK. So 1 second they couldn't do it, another second they're canceling it. So it seems like Amazon UK, they are canceling any pre-orders being shipped to the US. So we can't even circumvent the process, bro. It's crazy right now. It's crazy. We're in crazy, crazy time. Now, there is one slither of, not one slither, but a big slither of great news. So it's not all doom and gloom with the whole pre-order situation, even though, man, I do anticipate within the next few days Nintendo announcing and opening up pre-orders for the US. We could get a price adjustment announcement too. So we just have to stay tuned. It's crazy turbulent times right now, but we are still anticipating Nintendo announcing pre-orders and a new pre-order date sooner rather than later. Michael saying, I say $600, 47% tariffs is around $100 extra. Yeah, we could be looking at a $599 Switch 2 console price. Switch 2 for $599. And that would be crazy, bro. Good news to like early adopters. We don't have to worry about a mad rush for pre-orders. Like pre-orders would be a lot easier. But I still think the initial allotment still is going to sell out regardless of what Nintendo adjusts the price to. But we may have to brace ourselves for a price adjustment announcement. What's up to everybody coming to the stream? We're at 53 likes. I need 7 people. Give the stream a thumbs up. Let's get it to 60 likes. We have some good news. Right after I announced Panthorius with the $2 super chat. Appreciate it, Panthorius. He says, bruh, eBay scalpers close to 2K, bruh. Yeah, the last time I checked, I saw Switch 2 selling for 1,300. We're gonna check that out. Hey, I need somebody in the chat to type Panthorius. Somebody show Panthorius some love. Type Panthorius in the chat. Let me see something real quick. eBay Switch 2. Let me see something real quick. Nintendo Switch 2 eBay. All right, not that bad right now. Right now, not that bad. Check out, these are just, but now, these are, why did this automatically go to a different language? $800, $700, $600. As you can see, all of these prices are well over the $500 price point. 1,000, we got one for 1,000. USD 100, oh, that's our original Switch. But they're all $900 for a Switch 2 on eBay. So scalpers are already starting to sell. This one is selling for only, oh, that's a regular Switch. So Switch 2 prices are on average above $700 on eBay right now. That's right now. Now these are before, is it 8724? I don't know what this is saying. If any bids are on the system, once you start bidding, like it's gonna gradually just go up. So, whoo, the situation, the Switch 2 pre-order situation is tough right now. But as I said, we do have one slither of positive news. It's being reported, multiple sources are reporting that Switch 2 consoles will be extremely well stocked. More stock available than any console launch in recent memory. However, accessories and games are expected to be much more limited. It's talking about physical games. So just accessories you got to worry about. Because you could always get digital games. There is no stock. It's just a digital download. It's infinite supply of digital games. But, so accessories will be in limited quantity. So pick up those. If you're getting a Pro Controller, try to snag those immediately. That camera, try to snag that immediately. Now, I have heard people say that any USB-C camera will work with the Switch 2. I don't know if that's confirmed. I haven't seen Nintendo officially say anything about that. But I do want to still try to get the official Nintendo web camera. However, this is great news that Switch 2 consoles will be extremely well stocked. And this is probably why it's taken Nintendo so long to announce the system. Because, and there have been reports, I've been reporting about it, that Nintendo has been ramping up supply of the system. So well stocked. You know, me and you always like the official stuff. That's facts, Bucks. I want to get that official stuff, man. I want to have it set up. So it's good to see that that's going to be available. Switch 2 consoles, we may not have too much of an issue. If you want to get a console, I'd say in the first hour of announcements, and if you just do your pre-orders within that first hour or so, I think you'll be good. But you just got to get on it. You got to be on it right away. Don't take any chances, don't delay. So multiple sources have said that Switch 2 consoles will be extremely well stocked at launch. So that's good news. All right, bro, I've been meaning to get to this for so long, but so much news has been coming out. Nintendo, the developers, have spoken directly about the design of the system. Let's talk about that for a minute. Gives us some interesting tidbits of what we can expect, some cool features of the system. So let's break that down. This is part one. There's multiple parts of it, but I've been trying. What happened to my, why is there a, did my kids do something with my web camera? Hold on, y'all. Gotta fix something with my green screen. There we go. All right. Give the stream a thumbs up, y'all, if y'all coming in out here in Europe. You got yours, Alex. That's right. If you're in Europe, you should be able to be locking in your pre-orders. So that's good stuff. I heard European pre-orders sold out in minutes. The Pro Controller, speaking of accessories, can't wait to get the Pro Controller. gonna be day one Switch 2 Pro Controller. All right. Providing a new and unprecedented gameplay experiences. This is the developers of the system talking directly. First, could you briefly introduce yourselves? All right, they're introducing themselves. From the entertainment planning development. As the producer of the Switch 2, my role was to set the direction of what kind of system to develop and to consult with the hardware development department and other teams on the detailed specifications. This is Koichi Kawamoto. I was the general director for Nintendo Switch, and for this project, I continue to be involved in the overall development of the hardware. This is good to note that Nintendo's not just getting random dudes to put the system together. This first dude was also the general director for the Switch. So you can see where they can see these are areas we could have improved on and why the Switch 2 seems like it's such a great console. All right, the next dude, Tohiro Doda, referred to as Doda from this point on. Hello, I'm Tohiro Doda from the Entertainment Planning and Development Department, and I'm the director for Switch 2. I usually work as the technical director for games such as Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Since joining Nintendo, I've been involved in the development of every launch title from Nintendo DS to Switch. Wow! For this project, I've used that experience to share ideas with others on what kind of dedicated game console we should create from a software developer's perspective. He's been involved with every launch title from the DS to the Switch. Tons of experience. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch game release. It takes place after the story and these are just all right. The next dude is Tetsuya Sasaki. Sasaki, a member of the Technology Development Division for Switch. I supported the development of the console system software while also creating a more cutting-edge software development environment to further advance how Nintendo would create games. This time, I served as a technical director, overseeing the development of hardware technology, the system software that forms the basis for running games, and the network services that support them. All right. Thank you very much. Now let's jump right into the first question. This will be Nintendo's first dedicated game console in 8 years. Just think, it's been 8 years since the Switch. When did you begin development on Switch 2? All of this, I don't know any of this. This is all breaking. And how does the development of a game console start? The three of us started working together on the new hardware project around 2019. So this is good. It gives us insight of the development cycle of Nintendo. So roughly 2 years after the Switch 1 launch, they began working on the Switch 2. So what does that mean? In 2027, they're gonna already start working on the Switch 3. So after in 2 years, they're gonna start developing the next, because Nintendo, they're gonna continue to make more hardware. All right. But as far as the core development of Switch 2 goes, I recall that research and development had started even before the project formally kicked off, right? Yes? Sasaki, that's right. We knew that we would continue to develop new gaming consoles even after the launch of Switch. So we needed to get ahead of ourselves and start sowing the seeds of ideas for what we could do with the next console. Hardware development takes time, and if we didn't start early, the software development environment known as the software development kit that's needed afterwards wouldn't be ready in time. We started by actively gathering information each day on different kinds of technology and the results they could achieve. In that sense, you could say that we began the development even before 2019. So even before 2019, they started working on the Switch 2. Kawamoto, when we start development, Rather than attempting to create the entire console from the outset, we focus on the elements that will take the most time and effort. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to provide developers with a software development kit for creating games. So their emphasis was on the other side, Bria, other side. Their emphasis was getting the core development created so that development kits could go out as soon as possible to get that third-party support. Khalil Prats with the $2 super chat. We are so hyped the system sold out without pre-orders. Khalil, somebody type Khalil in the chat with a $2 super chat. Yeah, Khalil. I think the system's still going to sell well, but Nintendo needs to get this pre-order situation ironed out. Sasaki says, exactly, without constant preparation, we wouldn't be able to develop hardware and software in a timely manner. I see. Somebody type Khalil. A-Fire type Khalil in the chat. Show my guy Khalil some love. Kawamoto. Oh, wait, what kinds of things, this is the question. What kinds of things specifically do you consider during the seed sowing stage that precedes the hardware development? Kawamoto. Well, Switch is a dedicated game console that we created so that people can play different types of games in various places and situations. Fortunately, it has been well received by many players. However, that doesn't mean Switch is perfect. There were times when we wish the Switch system's processor was faster so that we could provide new and unprecedented gameplay experiences. I think the processor we chose to implement in Switch during its development was the best option at the time. However, as time went on, we began to realize that it didn't necessarily mean developers could make any kind of game they wanted with it. Dota-san, I'd like to ask you to share your view as a software developer. Like Kawamoto-san, were there moments that made you wish the processing speed was a little faster? And I could tell about halfway through the Switch development lifespan, people were like, all right, it's time, Nintendo, for a more powerful system. All right, Dota, he says, definitely. Hardware performance and software development always have a relationship of pulling ahead of and falling behind each other. What I mean is that when new hardware comes out and processing power improves, software development can also take advantage of that and take on new challenges. For example, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was originally developed for Wii U, so it was created with the Wii U system capabilities in mind. However, with Tears of the Kingdom, we could create a world in the sky and underground since performance had improved for the Switch. To add to that, the ability to fuse objects together to create new ones was also made possible because of the Switch 2's capabilities. However, as software development continues to take on these kinds of challenges, their technical capabilities improve and ideas expand. And then what they hope to do ends up surpassing the hardware's processing power can handle. Hardware with an expanded processing capability is a blessing for software developers who want to challenge themselves to create new gameplay experiences that are unimaginable today. And so processing power was at the forefront of their development. All right, this game right here, I might pass on this game. This drive game. The more I see it, the more I'm like, I don't know. There's going to be other games I want to play. All right, I see. So that's why you decided to sow seeds and prioritize improving the processing speed for Switch 2? Sasaki, software developers always try to get the most out of the hardware. And I tell you this, Nintendo does a fantastic job of squeezing every bit of processing power juice out of their hardware. So I'm confident those first party, that's how off the rip we already have 4K 60 frames per second games from Metroid. And I think Mario Kart World is also 4K 60. Don't quote me on that. But Nintendo definitely confirmed Metroid Prime 4 will be. All right. One example, On the other hand, gaming consoles nowadays need to process so many things in the background. One example would be downloading data for one of your games in the background while you're playing another game. That's facts. One of the things I did not like on the Switch, let's say you want to download a new game from the eShop. While you're playing a current game, the download pauses, bro. It may, for some games, still do it, but for the most part, the downloading pauses while you're playing a game. And that's all due to the amount of RAM processors in the system. So that's what they're speaking to now. One example would be downloading data for one of your games in the background while you're playing another game. When Nintendo makes a game console, we don't use an existing operating system that's already out there. Rather, we develop one ourselves. This is because we want to provide a system that software developers would be satisfied with. To help software developers create what they want in the long term, we decided to design the hardware with enhanced processing capability. And we see that with the Switch 2. We have some enhanced processing capability. Kawamoto, the Switch 2 system's improved processor performance has allowed us to realize new types of gameplay that haven't been seen before. To give you some examples, in Donkey Kong Bonanza, you can experience the exhilaration of being able to destroy anything you want in the game without restrictions. That's a fact, bro. That Donkey Kong Bonanza game, the destructible environments definitely wouldn't have been possible on the Switch 1. In Mario Kart World, let's go. All courses are now connected seamlessly in a single world. So you can drive from one course to the next. You could say that one of the key features of Switch 2 is its expanded processing capability, which has made these new gameplay experiences possible. So, one of the very first things they announced in the Direct, Mario Kart World will be exclusive to the Switch 2. And now they're explaining why. That interconnective world, they're saying they couldn't have done that on the Switch 1, at least to the capability of how they want to. All right, he continues. So, you increase the processing capability to allow new kinds of gameplay experiences to be created. Looking back at Nintendo's consoles past, I think many people would expect to see something more unconventional, much like how Wii and DS have control schemes unique to Nintendo. During the development of Switch 2, was there any discussion about taking a similar approach? So, bro, Madden coming to the Switch 2 is going to be epic. So they're asking, in the past, Nintendo consoles have had unique, quirky gameplay experiences. Did y'all ever consider that while you were making the Switch 2? Let's see what they say. From DS to Wii U, we offered new ways to play by implementing hardware features that weren't typical for game consoles at the time, and asked software developers to take advantage of them. However, with Switch, we made that less of a priority. Shout out to, we have 76 people. We need 24 people. Give the stream a thumbs up. Let's crush 100 likes. With Switch, we prioritize implementing something that could be used with any kind of software, such as the ability to play in both TV and handheld mode. Rather than asking software developers to create gameplay experiences that incorporate the hardware's unique features. Just like ASAP with the $10 super chat. I need the chat to spam ASAP. Let me read this comment real quick. It's exclusive to Switch 2 because Nintendo actually believes in generations. Shout out to PS5. LOL. Ah, that's so true. Hey, facts ASAP. Nintendo believes in generations. And I need somebody to type ASAP in the chat. Show my guy ASAP some love for dropping the big $10, bro. Appreciate it, ASAP. Really do, really do, really do. All right. Of course, we did consider various ideas. However, we felt that even if an idea works well for some games, there'll be a lot of games where it doesn't. Also, we thought a lot about whether we should change the design of Switch, a console with a screen and Joy-Con controllers on each side that can be played on TV when docked. After considering various new ideas, we decided it would be best to keep the Switch system design and not make any changes for change's sake. That's good. First, ASAP, Keto type ASAP, Mahomes, No Sag, Pay, Dylan all showed ASAP some love. ASAP, once again, I can't say it enough. Appreciate it, my guy. I like what the developers said. They didn't want to make a change just for change's sake. Just to say, oh, it's Nintendo, we need to do something different. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And when you really think about Nintendo's hardware history, a lot of people say, oh, Nintendo, we're known for Nintendo to innovate. Nintendo only really, for the most part, innovated when they were forced to. Going from the NES to the Super Nintendo, it was iterative. Almost the same controller, they just added a few buttons. Going from the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64, Nintendo had to go to a 3D world because everybody was going 3D. And so it was innovative. They did the analog stick and everything. From the N64 to the GameCube, really was iterative. The GameCube games were just better Nintendo 64 games. The GameCube did not sell that good, and Nintendo did a drastic change with the Wii. And then from the Wii to the Wii U, iterative. The Wii U tanked, and they did a drastic change with the Switch. The Switch is successful. Why do a drastic change just to change? And so if the Switch 2 tanks, then Nintendo may go in a different direction. But if it's successful, and I don't see the Switch 2 tanking, I think it's going to be a successful console. The only thing working against Nintendo are tariffs. So they get that situation worked out, we'll be good to go. All right. So I like that they said they didn't want to change just to change with the Switch 2. All right, Dota. From a software developer's perspective, we thought of what we'd want in a console if we were creating a game. In the past, Nintendo developed software that took advantage of unique hardware features, such as the Wii Remote and the Nintendo DS system's dual screens. However, since Switch launched, I think there's been a shift in how software developers create games. Rather than leveraging hardware features to create something unique, developers can now choose which software technologies they want to incorporate to make their game stand out. My honest opinion as a software developer is that just because a new hardware feature is added, it doesn't necessarily mean that various problems will be solved or that new kinds of gameplay experiences will be created one after another. So, with Switch 2, we improved its processing speed in the hope that it'll become a dedicated game platform with a strong and solid foundation that allows software developers to create what they want. I love that. Instead of forcing developers to say, hey, you have to use this mechanic, Nintendo's like, we'll just give y'all a great platform and options to do what you want. When I hear this, I think about Star Fox Zero and how we were forced to use the gamepad in ways that were unnecessary. And I think developers love this. You give them options. Metroid Prime 4 is a perfect option, a perfect example. The mouse control is an option on the Switch, but it's an option. So mouse aiming is in the game. But if you want to, you can pick it up and just point at the screen and aim. Or if you want to, you can just use a traditional Pro Controller and play the game in that way. Giving developers an option is going to go a long way for third-party support. Jay Westby, just subscribe. You're in a running, Jay Westby, for a Switch 2 console. So I'm going to be doing one for the subscribers. All right, we're almost done. Kawimoto. There have been cases such as the Ring-Con and Ring Fit Adventure where we've offered a unique experience by including an accessory with the game, and it was well received by players. So we wondered whether Switch 2 would really need a new hardware feature. Bro, did they just hint to that Switch 2 is going to have accessories? He pretty much said, instead of implementing a new hardware feature, we could just come out with this platform and then add accessories like we did with Ring Fit Adventure or Labo or the Mario Kart AR cart, remote control car. I think that's what Nintendo's going to do this generation. Give us the Switch 2, and then throughout the generation, add different accessories that add to the overall fun of the system. All right. He says, I see. So with Switch 2, which serves as the base, you focus on the functions that are necessary for all software, since unique hardware features can be offered later via accessories that come packed with a game. And you believe software developers will have even more possibilities to create unique games with these functions. That's right, says Dota. If I can add to that, Switch is a dedicated gaming console that packs in the best parts from Nintendo's previous consoles. That's true when you think about it. You can play both in TV mode and handheld mode. The controllers are detachable and have various built-in sensors. And I do think the form factor has lots of potential still. However, I feel that the way people play games in their daily lives is gradually changing. So one of our challenges this time was to delve deeper into this aspect with a new, more powerful console, leveraging the original concept of Switch. We believe that wonderful gaming experiences await players. All right, I see. So the playset styles of Nintendo Switch will have great potential. And it sounds like the Switch 2 system's role is to expand on that potential even further. So this is dope, man. This is just part 1. So during the live streams, we're going to periodically go over these developer Ask the Developer series. There are 4 total parts, so we did 1 of 4 today. But it gives us insight into why they've developed the system. And right here, they're saying we didn't need to feel to change anything drastically from the Switch. Our drastic changes will come with accessories. And they were focused more on beefing up the system, giving it better processing power, so developers can make bigger and better games for the system. That's dope, that's dope, that's dope. But the headline for today's stream has been the Canadian pre-orders have been delayed, So time will tell. Guys just DM me, how are we affected in Canada? Tough, bruh. And this is an official statement from GameStop Canada. Pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 in Canada will not start on April 9th, 2025, in order to align with the timing of pre-orders to be determined in the US. Nintendo will provide updated information at a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. We apologize for this inconvenience. So that's what it is. Guys, I just read your DM. Tough news. This is where we're going to stop the stream, y'all. All right. What do y'all think about everything we talked about? Sound off in the comment section below. I want to know. But before you go, bro, click that subscribe button. Stay up to date. All things Nintendo. We out. Peace. We still hyped. It's going to be epic. Oh, 2K this year on the Switch 2. Let's go, bro.
Oh, we almost have a Reggie Reggie Fils-Aimé!
Obi-Wan
No, no.
plays.
Yes, right. What's up? All right.
Obi-Wan plays.